And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon.
Sit down, shut up, and listen up.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon alongside 8-year-old Alex, who is, we'll go to him in a little bit as he is still consuming popcorn over here. Come on, professionalism. He's like, I'm 8. I don't know what professionalism is.
I'm professional at eating popcorn.
I guess everybody's got to have a skill, right? I don't know what kind of job security that'll bring you, but I don't know. Maybe testing for movie theaters.
Now
Maybe that's a possibility.
Jobs. 1, being a kid, and 2, eating popcorn.
All right. Well, we'll get you back here for that first job to be a kid and talk a little bit of WWE Payback in a little bit. But first, let's go to the we'll go to the phones. We'll get Ron, who's been hanging on for a while on line 32 there. Ron, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Yeah, I want to comment on something that went on Raw this week. Actually, Triple H, and Ms. McMahon and Stephanie. Now,
yeah, go for it. I was debating getting into it a little earlier, or whether I was going to get into it sooner rather than later, but I'm glad you brought it up. What's on your mind about that, Ron?
I didn't think you would want to bring it up. It reminded me of it's like they were kids. Every time we turn around, he comes out, and then he was disqualified, or he was or it made it a forfeit of the match. I was like, and he took the belt and the microphone and left. I was like, that's too stupid. I mean,
yeah, that was.
They want to like to hurt or what?
Well, I mean, that was obviously a power struggle. Triple H really wanted to wrestle Curtis Axel, and then Vince McMahon. Well, he didn't want it to happen, so it was a matter of, all right, Triple H was in the ring, and Vince McMahon had it announced that Curtis Axel won by disqualification. So then Triple H said, no, restart the match after Vince started to make his way back up. And then Vince decided to declare Axel the winner again by forfeit. So then Triple H restarted it once again as a 60-minute Iron Man match, which that would certainly be a way to chew up a lot of the segments on Raw so that we don't have to do as much writing. But I guess you can't necessarily do that every week.
But what's going to say, I mean, it's Monday night, you got to stop the match again.
Well, I mean, later in the night, they almost, to kind of use the example, they went kind of like the old, you remember the old Bugs Bunny cartoon? There was literally the Wabbit season, Duck season bit where they pretty much switched their opinions, and now Vince says, all right, Triple H, go ahead and have your match, and Triple H is saying, well, no, now I don't really want the match. So they're kind of pulling a 180 on both their opinions with that.
Well, I'd say it's just back and forth. The fact now they're pushing this Curtis Axel, they're actually pushing him, and it's only a good thing that they're pushing him.
Yeah, they're giving him more of a push than almost more of a push than his dad got.
What surprises me, while they're pushing him for an Intercontinental Championship match, it's not that it's too soon or not. They look what they did with Cesar, what was his name? They pushed him the first day out and he won the United States Championship. I mean,
what? You mean the Intercontinental when Santino Marella won it in Italy? Is that?
No, I was going about that. I was talking the night that Cesar guy beat, he won the
Antonio Cesaro?
On the first night. Yeah, the first night out, he won the United States Championship. He had it for so long, too. But now they're saying they're pushing a championship match. Whatever happened to The Miz and
Wade Barrett?
And it don't make sense. He's back for if he wins the championship, there's going to be like two Nexus going against each other.
Well, I mean, here's the issue with that. I mean, the only reason that Curtis Axel is in this match at all is because Fandango is out with a concussion. He missed last weekend's live events with a concussion that he suffered at the SmackDown taping last week. He did pass his impact test according to the WWE website, but he has not passed further testing for clearance. Therefore, he is scratched from the Triple Threat Intercontinental Championship match tomorrow night at Payback. Fandango being replaced by Curtis Axel against The Miz and Wade Barrett. So that's the only reason that Axel's in there is because Fandango's out with a concussion, which seems to be a pretty big thing considering Triple H's storyline concussion. And then, of course, Dolph Ziggler just getting back after being out for 5 weeks with a concussion. So, I mean, head injuries are a big deal and have been an even bigger deal since Chris Benoit, 6 years ago now.
Well, let me ask you this. With Dolph Ziggler, he was out for, what, a month?
About 5 weeks, yeah.
All right, well, I'll grant you that. Now, they say that the championship should be defended in 30 days. Did he go past the 30-day clause, or didn't he? I mean, I always say that they look at the edge. They had to strip him from the belt at one time because he wasn't capable of wrestling in 30 days, and I forget who else it was. Rey Mysterio, I think, wasn't it? Rey Mysterio? They were stripped of the belt. Why didn't they strip Dolph Ziggler of the belt? I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Well, that is. I was going to say that is rather notable. As if you want to go from when he last wrestled a match to his most recent even TV appearance, because he ended up not wrestling this past Monday. He ended up sending in Big E Langston. At this point, you're right. They usually have those 30-day clauses, but then again, this is Hollywood writers who don't necessarily know about those traditional things and wouldn't know that at this point we're closing in on 40 days since he last defended the title after being out with that concussion on May 7th.
See, that's why I say it was favoritism. It's like when they did with Zack Swagger, favoritism that kept him not from being suspended by WWE for drug tolerance. And the same way, I feel the same way. It's favoritism. These wrestlers are getting away with things. Oh, and I also read this week CM Punk's a match with Jericho. I'm hearing that CM Punk's going to make a babyface turn.
That's what a lot of people seem to be presuming.
For announcing the match to begin with.
I don't know. The only thing I know about that match is that it's certain to be a good one, considering the abilities of both CM Punk and Chris Jericho, not only on the microphone but in the ring. So I think that's one that a lot of people have their eyes on as being a match that's obviously going to steal the show.
Well, two good things happen. I mean, one, I'll say, actually with TNA, but I'll tell you about that in a sec. The fact Daniel Bryan, he showed a lot with that Shield member, and it could go either way throughout the whole thing. I mean, the other thing, he saying who's the weak link. I don't think it was Daniel Bryan for the way he showed himself this week as a tough wrestler, a tough guy to be beat. I mean, for all purposes, I wonder how Randy Orton and him will get along tomorrow night. But,
well, we'll find out. Alex and I have my predictions certain to go wrong, and Alex has his predictions that he hopes will be more right than mine for Payback tomorrow night.
He might have the same predictions I have. As far as TNA, is there going to be a breakup with the Shield? Because I'm not sure. I mean, the Ace of Eights said that's what happened on Thursday night. It seems to me like it's a power struggle. Who they want in this Bound for Glory? And I've seen what Mr. Anderson did, telling everybody to throw themselves off the top, out the front, the rope, and it came to the last two, and they fought each other. And Bully Ray didn't like that. And to me, I think it's a real power struggle.
I think it's just putting a spotlight on somebody other than Bully Ray, because you look at the rest of the guys, other than Bully Ray and Devon, the rest are just kind of nameless, faceless bit players, even though their identities have been revealed. I mean, whether it's Knox or Nux or whatever you want to call him, DOC, I mean, there's really no identity to a lot of these guys. I mean, Mr. Anderson, he's noted, but he's just kind of there. So I think it's just trying to get some of these guys out of the background, give them identities, so that way it's not just Bully Ray and a bunch of scrubs.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Exactly. Anyway, so they're trying to work around that.
Yeah. So I guess that's about it for this week. Good weekend.
All right, real quick before I let you go. I mean, we were talking about Father's Day. I mean, did your dad have any kind of influence on you?
My dad, he still has influence on me to this day, but
Well, I mean, as far as like wrestling, I mean, obviously.
No, I'll tell you, my dad. I told Eric once. My dad never really was into wrestling. My mom either. My mom proved something to me. I could tell Eric once. She proved that heart punch wasn't real.
Oh yeah, the old Oxbaker heart punch. Yeah.
It was the old Stan Steve, yes, heart punch.
Oh yeah, Stan Steve. I know a lot of guys there. Of course, I go real old school with Ox Baker.
I remember them growing up and then telling me, they would get hurt the way they throw themselves over the top rope. And my father would say they had a plan how they do. But I was always wondering, one thing I always wondered, how do they do a flying drop kick? I mean, they must be agile enough to do that. I mean, I never know how to do it. I would love to learn how to do that myself.
I hear you. There are a lot of things I'd love to do as well. Thanks so much for the call, Ron. Appreciate it as always. Now, Alex, speaking of parental figures, now having known your mom and dad for a really long time, I know that they're not the biggest of wrestling fans. In fact, I think before you started following it, it probably would have been one of the least things that they would have paid attention to. But I want to send special thanks out there for letting them or having them, I guess, get you out of their hair for a little bit to come on up here to talk a little bit of wrestling for a little bit, even if it has been eating popcorn for the most part. We'll get into some in-depth analysis coming up in the final segment here, because I'm sure they and a few other people are wondering what you have to say now that you are fully charged and popcorned up and you're Cena geared up as you've got your Never Give Up shirt. So I think we know where you're going to go in the main event, but the other 7 matches we'll have to ask about that coming up as well. Let's we'll go ahead and get we'll get the phones going, and we'll get Ed from the Northeast. He's been hanging on for a little bit. Ed, the showstopper. Ed, what's going on?
Good afternoon. We have NWA on fire in Parsippany, New Jersey, at the Powell Center with a 7 p.m. bell time.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. Liberty States NWA at the Sports Arena with Sports America in Oakland was just incredible. The Dream Team and Tommy Dreamer.
Oh yes, the Dream Team, Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake. Yes.
And Honky Tonk Man is at the Elks Lodge in Union this coming Friday with FWF Wrestling.
Oh, okay. And I think actually our longtime friend of the show, RC, he's making his way over to the Monster Factory. I think they have a show going on this evening. He said he's going to let me know how that's going. I unfortunately have a prior engagement. Otherwise, I would love to. I've been meaning to make it out there to the Monster Factory forever. I don't want Larry Sharp to think that I've been like stiffing him or anything. I'd love to get out there. It's just the schedules haven't quite synced up, but yeah, that should definitely be a good show.
Did you hear about Jay Lethal fundraiser? Or did I read that wrong?
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but
I probably read it wrong then.
Anything's possible. That's for sure here.
And a couple months ago, we had the death of Hector Garza.
Oh yes, yeah, he
brought that up.
I forget if I brought it up here or not. There's so much that goes on. I think I had it in my notes, and then, getting pulled off on tangents, things like that. That tends to happen a lot on this show. I'm notorious for tangents.
And we had the Hardcore with Tommy Dreamer at the...
yes, the House of Hardcore. That is 1 week from tonight, and I actually have a little bit to. I was going to say once we're done with this here, I've got a little bit more to talk about with that, courtesy of my friends down the road here. We'll get into that in just a little bit as well.
Is he selling tickets for that, or is that at the door?
I believe there are tickets online. I'll have to look a little. I can look during the break on that, but. One thing I can mention, actually, I was going to say, did you have anything else?
No.
All right. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it as always. They don't call him Ed the Showstopper for nothing. Yes, but let me tell you, huge appearances coming up this summer courtesy of George's Cards and Collectibles. We're 1 week away. That's right. Next Saturday at the National Guard Armory in Northeast Philadelphia. You mentioned the House of Hardcore show, but prior to the show, the 16-time world champion, the 2-time WWE Hall of Famer, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Woo! That's right. He will appear prior to the House of Hardcore show. He'll be there from 5 until 7 p.m. Also, as if that wasn't enough, a couple weeks later, he had a couple of triples last night, Freddie Galvis of the Phillies is going to be at George's Cards and Collectibles location at the Oxford Valley Mall on Saturday, July 6th. That should be a good one. That'll be from 11 a.m. until 12 noon, probably so he has enough time to get down to the ballpark a little bit later that day. And then 3 weeks after that, the day before my birthday, that should be a fun one. Saturday, July 27th, again at the Oxford Valley Mall, the showstopper, the icon, the main event, the WWE Hall of Famer, no, not you, Nick Cataldi, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, will appear from noon until 3 o'clock. For more information on these appearances, as well as ticket info, other items from George's Cards and Collectibles, including their 2 locations, give them a call at 215-943-2475, or you can check them out online at georgescollectibles.com. Definitely looking forward to a lot of those. I mean, Ric Flair is awesome. Never met Shawn Michaels before, so looking forward to hopefully getting a chance to talk with him in about a month and a half from now.
Ron, your guest is making faces at me. Now he made them at you, too.
Well, I'm used to him making faces at me.
He'll be a wrestler someday, this kid.
Yeah.
He's got the making.
He's got the outgoing personality, that's for sure.
He really does.
All right, let me talk a little bit. I know I've been not necessarily skirting TNA, but one notable thing from the fallout of the Slammiversary pay-per-view, Sting finally coming out and addressing that he can no longer wrestle for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship as per the stipulation for his match against Bully Ray from Slammiversary a couple weeks ago. But kind of the noted aftermath of it, that when Aces and Eights were all beating up on Sting, nobody came to his rescue. And Sting came out to the ring and talked a little bit about that on Impact.
1 year ago at Slammiversary, I was the first wrestler to be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame, and it's a night that I'll never forget. But a lot has happened in this last year since then. The Great Deception headed off by Bully Ray, which leads to Slammiversary 2013, where I was given exactly what I wanted. That was one shot and one only against Bully Ray for the world title. And everybody knows that I failed. Now, because I failed, that means that I can no longer wrestle for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship again. At Slammiversary, Bully, you sent wave after wave after wave after wave until I was overwhelmed. My strength ran out. You took over, and the rest is history. You won. And there's one other fact that I cannot let go of, that I will never forget, and that is this: that I was left out there to fend for myself. There wasn't one wrestler who came from the back to help me when I was in dire straits. But that's okay. That's okay. I don't mind at all. Bully, you and Aces and Eights, you're like a fine-tuned machine. You got each other's backs. I mean, no matter what, at all costs, no matter what, you got each other's backs. What a great example. You are just like family. Family. Yeah, family. Just like family. Family. Oh, just when I thought I was out, they sucked me right back in. I realize now I got to go to a place where I never thought I'd go again, and that's to create my own family. A family I can trust, and they know they'll be able to trust me. My own new family, or shall I say, my own new mafia. My own new main event mafia. Whoa! Very soon, main event mafia, the new main event mafia will rise. Aces and eights, you're gonna fall.
Did you hear that?
Wait.
Sting's family. His own family. His new family.
What is he talking about, main
He's talking about a new mafia.
He's got no friends.
He's talking about a new main event mafia.
Yes, a new main event mafia, which could go one of two ways. If it's like what the old one was, where you have pretty much established veterans, I don't think it's going to go over so well. But if they use it to kind of launch some new names and faces, kind of make some, build some new household names as opposed to bringing in some retread household names, then I think it has a chance. Now, while the clip was playing, I'll mention real quickly for those who are asking about the House of Hardcore show, you can buy tickets online or at the door. You can check them out online. Just go to houseofhardcore.net, and that'll give you the whole match lineup, which is looking pretty good. Too Cold Scorpio against John Morrison, Lance Storm against Tommy Dreamer, the Young Bucks against Brian Kendrick and Paul London, and in the house, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, the Steiner Brothers, Carlito, MVP. He's back over from Japan. Who knew? Little Guido, the Sandman, Danny Doring, a whole slew. Should be a great show, and I believe I'm going to be at that next week, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. All right, let's take care of our second bit of business. Got some more news and notes, Facebook feedback, and still the predictions certain to go wrong, and little Alex's predictions as well. All coming up here on Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.